BBAI is in a very interesting spot, guys. We've gotten that big leg up like we covered in the last video, and now sellers are trying to step back in here, guys, trying to push that stock back down from that big run up. Now the question is, are sellers going to successfully push us all the way back down like we saw here, or are we going to hold higher around this general formation and then continue our way up, testing that $10 level and beyond? Now guys, kicking this analysis off on the weekly, I like to point out that this stock is definitely no stranger to these big moves up and down. It's very volatile. It's a small cap stock, just like GameStop, AMC, etc., that loves to have these big moves up and down. And as we see, nearly every single time we see a big move up, we see that leg down. First big move up to that $16 level, all-time high. We get a further move down, retracing further than that move. Right here, guys, we see that big move up, holding slightly above that, guys, not fully retracing, but coming very close to fully retracing. Once again, big move up, big move down, fully retracing. And as of more recent times, volume has picked up, as volume really wasn't a factor in the stock up until recent times, and we see that volatility start to come into play. These once spikes have just become that ascending profile, huge leg up, and you see a full retracement of that move. So now what you guys are wondering, right, since we gotten that big leg up, sellers are already trying to step back in. Is history going to repeat itself? Are we going to see a full retracement back down? Or basically a full retracement, maybe holding slightly higher. Now, given price history, I mean, that is definitely a valid point to think about, guys. I mean, we have gotten that big leg up. We have held a bit lower. We haven't gotten to that $10 level. Our high at this point is around that $871 level. And we very well could be retracing this whole move. Like we said in the last video, guys, if we broke through that, 787 nicely, like nothing, easily be headed to that $10 level, if not even past that. But the fact that sellers has stepped in here, guys, we see a mirroring candle pretty much of this candle here. Very similar. If anything, more selling pressure on this candle. It shows that we're in a crucial spot. Either BBAI buyers have to react here, holding us higher, generally around this range or the top of this breakout candle, or there's a huge possibility that we fully retrace. But I'm going to take you guys to the daily so we can really see what's going on here in the closer perspective and see if we are headed for that retracement, or if, buyers can step in here, changing the history of price action and continue higher. All right, guys, now on the daily chart, we see that very volatile nature and that move to $10 and full sell-off, and then another energy building zone. So very volatile energy building zone, and then we get into another energy building zone after that sell-off. And then, guys, we see, once again, finding an ascending support. So we find ascending support on this first run up here, and that is what aids that big movement up to $10. And then, once again, slightly less volatile, right? We're really chopping around over here, guys. Very, very volatile. So slightly less volatile right here. Nevertheless, we do find some ascending support and we are moving upwards. And then we find some very, very tight consolidation. So similar, but much more tight here. Energy is really building up, and we see very obvious ascending profile on that volume, guys. Just really ascending up, ramping up to all-time high volume here, guys. So it's definitely notable. But then we see that slow decline over the last few trading days. And so we get out of that energy building zone, right? We meet with that resistance and that support. We kind of stay very tight above that $369 level. You see a little bit of back and forth. Buyers try to push it up. 3 red days in a row. Sellers are trying to come back down, but very small candles. They can't do much, and then buyers step in again. And that's where you see that very big wide green bar. Getting past that $5 level, sellers see this as an opportunity to step in. They try to push us below. Buyers react right away, pushing it back above, mirroring this exact candle. And you see a lot of buying pressure on this candle, given a red hammer candle. And then you see buyers push it higher past that $6 level. A little bit of back and forth, but buyers are continuously pushing it higher. Then we find that resistance at that 787 that we have marked up. As we had a little bit of resistance here on that other breakout, we find that $8 level and that 787 as our main points to really pay attention to. And we wick off that 876, and that's what starts to lead off to the sell-off. So we see energy build up, giant move up, and we see the sellers try to step in. So what we want to see here, guys, is a hold at this general formation bottom, which would be that 626. As we got in that little bit of a gap up there, if we can hold around that 626, say buyers step in here, mirroring this and stopping this sell-off, we could definitely be seeing some new price action, retesting that 787 as well as that $8 level and that high of 874. All is not gone yet. We could definitely be seeing some new price action, and buyers can step in. But if sellers push us below this formation and below the top of this candle, saying around that $6 psychological level, it's extremely likely that we would be headed to the bottom of this range. We could possibly hold higher like we saw once. So if we can't hold those closer support zones, the bottom of this formation or the top of this gap up candle, it is very likely that we see price just kind of sell off. Buyers maybe try to get it up, but sell off, get back in that energy building zone, possibly consolidate between that 5 and that psychological 4 to kind of 369-ish level. But like I said, all is not lost yet on BBAI. I think that we do have a chance at bottoming here and continuing higher, kind of new price action. So you'd be looking at a bottom of this formation right here, and then a continued move higher, trying to retest this top right here, guys. I mean, in the past, guys, we have had a little bit of a sell-off, so it's not a complete stranger to this. In the beginning of this stock IPOing, we did have that big run-up. We had that sell-off, which pretty much held half of that movement, and then we saw that continued run-up. So, I mean, it's definitely a possibility that we see that run-up, that little bit of a pullback about. We're getting close to that halfway point, guys, and then a continued run up. Watch that bottom of that formation and the top of this breakout candle as possible support zones. All right, guys, now on the hourly, we see a very obvious stair step pattern right after getting out of that really, really tight consolidation range, guys, meeting with that resistance and the support. We break out, get really tight again, but then we see that big leg up. Sellers try to push it down, small retracement, big leg up, smaller retracement, big leg up, and just kind of play around, find that resistance, smaller retracement, try to get that leg back up, cannot do it, end up falling under that support zone right here. But we were in a very textbook stair-like pattern and very narrow range. From a TA perspective, what we can analyze, like I said, is that bottom, that 624. Watch price to come down here, get tight like it did right here, kind of double bottom and continue up. If we can't do that, watch for the top of this breakout. Before that gap up, watch for that $6 psychological level to get hit and a continued move up. My prediction is we could be getting a bounce there, guys. And if we can't get a bounce at either of those levels, it's very likely that given the data that we have, history kind of repeats itself and we trend further down. Although, guys, we are very overextended here. Keep that in mind. We're extremely overextended. So the fact of the matter is that after an overextended run-up, doesn't matter what stock it is, right? We're looking at a very volatile low-cap stock, but doesn't matter what stock it is. If we're this overextended, it is normal to have a smaller pullback. So don't fully get scared out yet, guys. Yes, we are pulling back here, but that doesn't mean we have to go to the floor. Most of the time we see these big run-ups, we see these big sell-offs, but all is not lost yet. So keep your eyes on this formation, guys. Keep your eyes peeled as we're in a very important range to get that bounce. If we don't get that bounce, watch for that further leg down, possibly bouncing off that 5 psychological level or just fully retracing. Very overextended. Normal to see a little bit of a pullback. All right, guys, so BBAI is in quite a spot. For the buyers, you want to see that bounce off those key support levels and get that continued leg higher. And as a seller, you want to see history repeat itself and you want to see that full retracement. So I do still remain slightly bullish, although given history, guys, it's normal to see a full pullback after a very volatile move up on the stock. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see if buyers can really catch that stock before it goes further down. If you guys enjoyed and want to see more BBAI content, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know your price predictions down in the comments below, as well as other tickers that you want me to cover. Be patient with this one, guys, and as always, trade smart, and I will see you all in the next one.